There we go.
And we're back.
Yeah, that was a fast hour. I was like surprised.
Wow. Yeah. And honestly, like I have notes and we basically didn't cover it, but I feel like we should do this more often. I always surround myself with or seek out people who teach me things because when you learn something new, it's like your mind, it stretches, right? It goes to a new dimension, and then it's really hard to go back. It's um when you know better, you can do better, so you can grow better, not grow bitter of all of the things, right? Because here's a question for you, Ryan. I'm watching a lot of this. So we just talked about the systematic suppression, and that goes along with cutting the tall poppies and some of these agendas that we're witnessing happening. And I'm trying to stay informed, not watching mainstream media, but stay informed from people like you, and have different sources that are absolutely credible and valid,
Mhm.
as you know. How do you stay sane in all of this, in knowing what you know, and not let it affect your overall outlook? Because
Yeah.
obviously there's a conscious awakening happening, and you and I have been on this wavelength, call it, for a few years plus.
Mhm.
So, and it is getting better, but it's almost like this is
Yeah.
the breakdown before the breakthrough.
So,
And it's a lot of it can be kind of scary.
yeah.
Like when we're talking about a radio frequency identification
Hmm.
chip, right? Which
Yeah.
basically means that our monies that we're working for are little numbers behind somebody else's computer screen, which
Hmm.
really to me feels like enslavement. And I know radio frequencies carry sound because that's what a radio frequency is, and therefore they have sound bits and carry information, so no matter what, you're bugged. Like, I'm just calling it spyware.
That's what it is. So to answer your question, I think we have to start off knowing the self, and that's where we started off in the beginning of our last live, is understanding who we are. So I do believe in astrology. I believe in energy, vibration, frequencies, and I understand that the powers above me influence who I am at the time of my birth and all that stuff, the location. So it's just who I am at my nature, at my natural state, to be a very grounded individual. I'm a lot of earth. I'm a Virgo, which is a visionary and an earth sign. I'm a Taurus, which again is an earth sign. And then I'm a Leo, as my moon. So I have fire within me as well. But then I understand my other part of the chart as well. But it's just who I am as an individual, where like chaos could be going on around me. And I've been in crazy situations. I've been in life-threatening situations where I've almost died. And the way I'm talking right now is how I talk when shit's hitting the fan and fucking shit's going crazy. I'm a very grounded individual. I've had a mountain lion literally come at me before when I was hunting. And I'm not scared. I breathe and I react accordingly. Granted, that mountain lion is no longer here because I have a right to defend myself, but that's how I am. I'm a very grounded individual. I'm able to think very fast and rationalize my thoughts and actions and emotions extremely fast. So that's just who I am. So every person listening to this question right now, you have to understand who you are. And once you understand who you are, how you think, how you react to certain situations, that's when you can start figuring out how to stay grounded or how to react in a certain way that doesn't that isn't based off your emotions or whatever it may be. So I just know who I am. I'm a very grounded individual. I'm that person when shit hits the fan, everybody reaches out. And perfect example, when all this was going on, my text messages, my DMs, and so on were getting blown up by people. Oh my God, what's going on? What should I do? Where should I go? Whatever it was. And I'm sitting here like just relax and breathe and just observe what is going on. Everything you're basing on is off fear right now, because there obviously is something going on, but you just need to take a second and observe what is going on. Look at the different information that's being shown and shared, and look into it yourself, and then react accordingly to that. And that's kind of my thought process right there. When there's a situation taking place, I try to take everything in, and then from there I create my reaction, I guess you would say, or a plan to that. So yeah, I'm just naturally that person, and my life path number is a number 1, which is a leader. So it's like in my DNA, it's my energy where I'm naturally leading people, and it gets into why I host a Meeting of the Minds event. It's literally the only event out there that is like it, if you want to say, where it's raw truth. It's bringing in all different people, whether it's, you know, holistic nutritionist, the conspiracy theorist, the healers, the meditating, and all that stuff. There's no other event out there at the end of the day. There's events for vegans, there's events for healers, there's events for nurses, practitioners, whatever it is, but there's no event that brings everybody together. Not that I'm aware of, and that definitely doesn't censor themselves, because the way I talk on here, I talk 10 times more bluntly at my event there, because it's my platform. It's not a social media platform. But anyway, yeah, just for anybody who's in that fearful state, you have to understand that if you're living in fear, it's because you're not educated, you're not informed, which is totally fine. Like when the new information's presented to you, you're probably not going to know what the fuck's going on. But you have to understand that you shouldn't go to a fearful state just because you don't know what's going on. That's relaxing, grounding yourself, doing whatever it is. Everybody's different. I'm a car guy. That's my materialism. That's the only materialism that I allow myself to have. So when I'm mad, when I'm frustrated, or when my emotions are running high, I go on a car ride. I go on a late night drive, or whatever it is, music, no music, whatever it is. That's what I do to like ground myself. Other people, you know, there's sound meditation, right? Crystal bowls. There's folding your legs and sitting like you are on the ground and connecting and breathing and doing that. There's all different ways to ground yourself in situations. Sometimes just fucking smiling. You could be mad, upset, sad, whatever it is. And if you just smile, the chemical reaction, the electrical reaction just reprograms your mind instantly. So you just have to see what works for yourself. You also need to be mindful that whatever you're doing, there's consequences for that as well, both good and bad. I'm not saying go out and cause harm. I'm not saying go out and drink or smoke weed or do whatever it is. Like I'm for smoking weed, by the way, but some people smoke weed to suppress their emotions. You have to be mindful of what you're doing and the consequences for that. So just because you're mad doesn't give you the right to use some kind of chemical or some kind of plant to suppress yourself. At the end of the day, it's acknowledging what you're going through and using your thoughts to get through that. And that's kind of how I go about things. But maybe that's just how I go about things, because I'm a very rational, logical thinker. It's just who I am.
It's all about staying neutral, right? In times of praise, stay neutral. In times of criticism, stay neutral. So same goes in situations like this. The neutrality, equanimity becomes your greatest superpower, because when you're neutral, then you don't have that cascade of fear hormones and adrenalizers that are going to change your reaction. You become more reactive, you become more reflexive. So when you're neutral, you're breathing, you've got that flow of breath, you've got oxygen going to the brain, feeding the creative centers of the brain where the solutions exist. If you're focusing solely on a problem, that you've got to beeline it out of there because, of whatever reason, it's saber-toothed tiger. But it's true. It's the neutrality factor it makes the biggest difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yoga has taught me so much about my own inner dialogue, and how in my practice, right, whenever I'm in a really challenging pose and then the narrative pipes up like you're not strong enough, or I trick myself into like I don't like this because I can't do it, right? Even though I am, and it's really hard for me that now all of a sudden I can't do it for as long as the instructor wants me to do it for. And I notice all of these things happening in my head. And it's almost like if you can bring yourself to the observer of those thoughts that are going to happen automatically. As a matter of fact, 90% of them are recycled from yesterday, and 90% of those recycled thoughts are automatically negative. And so as soon as you become aware that you're not your thoughts, you are greater than your thoughts, and furthermore, you can reprogram the thoughts that actually serve you, and then that becomes the story and your attraction point. Because first, we are electrical. We're electrical beings, right? This is why Wi-Fi, EMF, 5G is throwing off the electricity of our body. Then we're chemical, which is the hormone. And then we are magnetic. We're basically magnets, you know, and that's part of how we stand on the earth. It's that there's a magnetic force. Of course, gravity, I get that, but we're magnets. I'm a magnet, you're a magnet. There's a reason why we are magnetized.
Just to drop a little gem here. Some people don't believe in gravity, and I'm one of them. But yeah, I feel what you're saying.
Yeah. Nice.
So yeah, let's go down your list. I want to answer as many questions as we possibly can.
All right, cool. All right. So could you, for those who don't know about Event 201, I know this is probably something that you've talked about before, but just summarize what happened there and when it happened.
Yeah, so this was in what, 2019, and then I think they were even talking about it earlier in like 2017. Bill Gates was on record talking about this pandemic that's happening right now. But essentially what he was talking about is what we're going through right now. They were talking about a virus being spread and then not having the right equipment or vaccinations or whatever it may be to handle this situation, to go into a shutdown, a lockdown, and so on. So they've been planning this for at least 1 year for sure, but upwards of 3 to 5 years. And in my other live videos that I've done, I always mention that what we're focused on right now, today, tomorrow, they're already working on 3 to 5 years from now. And the only way we're going to disrupt what they're working on 3 to 5 years from now is if we stand the fuck up. Everything they're planning is based on us staying home, sitting, relaxing, just following, whatever their orders are. The moment we stand up and rise up, the moment